Hello and welcome to my course, 15 Ways to Learn English. My name is Joe and I will be your teacher in this course. I've been teaching English for about 22 years now, and I've learned lots of different ways to learn English. So I think I can help you if you watch these videos. Let's go on to the next slide so I can introduce why I made this course. I've got students from all over the world, and many of them ask me the same types of questions. Joe, what is the best way to learn English? How can I learn English quickly? Can you help me get better at English? A lot of times, students have trouble learning in the same old traditional way in a classroom. So they want me to help them and show them a different way to learn English. So let's go on to the next slide so you can see my answer. So what's the best way to learn English? There is no one way. There isn't a best way. What does that mean? Different people learn in different ways. The way you learn could be totally different from another student, even from your brother or sister. There is not one magical or secret way to help you get better at English. Don't be saddened by this news. This is a good thing. If you go on to the next slide, I'll show you what I mean. The reason why it's a good thing that there's not one way is because there are many ways. If there was just one way, then everyone would know about it by now. You can't keep secrets nowadays. If there was one magical way to learn English, you would know it. It would be all over the internet. But there isn't. There are lots and lots of ways to get better at English. I love helping students, and I know they don't all learn in the same way. So that's why I made this course. So, what can you do? You can watch my videos and learn about a variety of different ways. Some of these ways will seem strange, and some will seem great. Some of them you may have heard before. Some of them will be totally new to you. By the time you are finished with this course, you will know lots of different ways to help yourself. Then you can choose your favorite or your few favorites and get busy getting better at English. You don't have to use all of the ways, just choose your favorites. So the next question I have to ask you is, are you ready? Are you ready to improve your English? Are you ready to learn new ways that can help you improve your English quickly? Whenever you are ready, just start the course and start learning. If you have any questions or problems, just let me know and I will try my best to answer you quickly. All right? Good luck. Hello everyone and welcome to tip number 1 in this course. So tip number 1 is read for fun. Now I know a lot of you are going to say, Joe, I hate reading. And I understand that. When I was young, I hated reading too. Let's go on to the next slide and let me explain some more about this way so maybe you will try it. So, read for fun. What does that mean? It doesn't mean just read anything. What you're supposed to do is read books, magazines, websites, comic books, anything that you're interested in. If you have a hobby, if you're interested in something, if you have a passion about something in life, there are books and magazines written about it. What you shouldn't read is, don't read textbooks, TOEFL books, test prep books, etc. Because you shouldn't read things that are boring for you. Do you remember back in school when the teacher made you read books? You didn't want to read those books, but you had to because the teacher forced you to. Maybe you were a good student and you did read the books, but then later on you forgot a lot of that information. Okay? You forgot it because your brain didn't care about it. But your brain does care about the things that you like. That's what I want you to read about. Let's go on to the next slide. So why do I want you to read for fun? The fastest learning happens when you love the stuff you are learning. Think about the stuff that you know about. Your favorite soccer team, your favorite singer, your favorite movie star. You didn't learn that stuff in a class or from a textbook, did you? Right? You didn't study your favorite soccer team in school, did you? You learned about it on your own, all right? Because you cared. It was extra reading, but you didn't care because you loved it and you wanted that information, all right? That is why the fastest learning happens when you love it, right? You learned that stuff and you can still remember it today because you were very, very interested in it. You learned this stuff, such as information about your favorite soccer team or things about cosmetics. You learned this stuff because you were truly interested and passionate about the subject. You can use that passion to help you improve your English. By reading about your favorite subject every day, you will become familiar with English grammar and vocabulary naturally. Now, I've heard the complaints like this before. People might say, I don't need soccer vocabulary. So they don't think they should be reading about their favorite soccer team or about traveling or about cosmetics. But that is not what happens. When you're reading about your favorite soccer team and what they did yesterday, you're reading about things you love every day, and you will learn about standard English grammar forms, such as conjunctions, prepositions, and articles, which are the hardest parts of English. These things help in all subjects. When you improve your English this way, then you can be ready for English tests. You can be ready to understand when you read other things in English because it's all connected. So how can you improve your English? Read a certain amount every day, such as one chapter, one article in a magazine, 20 minutes. Set your own goal and read for that much. The same way as if you were trying to get in shape, right? Improve your muscles, you would go to the gym every day. You'd stay there for a certain amount of time. You'd lift a certain amount of weight, maybe 30 reps. Same thing when you're learning English. Set a goal and do it every day. When you find new words, guess the meanings of new words. Don't stop to check their meanings in dictionaries. You want to develop your skills. Checking a dictionary means that you have to stop what you're doing, which might be fun, and then do some work. I don't want you to work at this. I want you to read it and then guess. So if you're reading about your favorite soccer team and you see a word that you don't understand yet, just guess what it means. Take a guess. If you're right, the next time you see that word, it'll make more sense to you. If you're wrong, then the next time you see that word, you'll have to guess again. That is developing your ability to guess words that you don't know. That is a great skill. You can also read the same stories in your language if you need to. So you could check up to see what your favorite soccer team did last night in the news in an English newspaper, read that story, and then go to a newspaper in your language and read a similar story, right? You can do that. So what else can you read? Well, things that my students have been interested in the past include the sports news or sports magazines, movie news, movie magazines, movie studio websites, movie scripts. You can read youth books, mysteries, romance, nonfiction. You could read about Harry Potter. You could read joke books, riddles, ghost stories, newspapers, comics, anything. Anything that you're interested in can help you improve your English. The key is you have to be interested in it. If you're reading something and it's boring to you, stop. Don't keep reading that because you're wasting your time. Read interesting things, stuff that you love, and your brain will be turned on and you will learn lots of English. So what do I suggest you do now? Do Google searches for whatever you're interested in, such as travel to Hawaii, cruise reviews, Barcelona Football Club, Lionel Messi, how to find a girlfriend, ghost stories, anything you want. But the important thing is it has to be something you want. What are you interested in your language? Then just go looking for it in English. All right? That's the end of this video about for fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you go on to the next video to find out my next tip. Hello, and welcome to tip number 2, quiz a friend. Let's go on to the next slide, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So what does quiz a friend mean? Ask your friends questions about what you have to study. Ask your friends questions about important vocabulary, how to finish sentences, and different grammar forms. Doing these things can really help you learn English and improve your English. So why do I think quizzing a friend can really help improve your English? Well, just studying on your own and rereading your textbook is boring and passive. Active studying is harder, so it activates more of the brain and requires more effort, and it's fun. You have to pay more attention when you are being quizzed. When you're just studying on your own and rereading your textbook, it can be boring and maybe you want to check your phone a few times. But if your friend is sitting there asking you questions, you have to pay attention and answer the questions. So it helps you stay more alert. Another good thing about quizzing a friend is you have to practice your pronunciation while quizzing your friends. And your friends have to practice their listening while they're being quizzed. Making anything into a game increases the level of engagement. So that means you practicing what you're saying and them practicing what they're hearing kind of makes it into a game. Can you do it so well that your friends can understand you in just one try? If you can't, then your friend's going to have to ask, "Pardon me," and you'll have to say your question again. As you get better and better at it, you'll get better and better at English. So quizzing a friend can lead to higher levels of engagement, and higher levels of engagement lead to more understanding. What does that mean? So think about a time when you were learning something in class that was really boring. You didn't really care, and maybe you weren't paying attention. If you're talking to your friend and your friend is quizzing you, you have to stay engaged. You are interested because you're having fun. That engagement, that fun, is going to let you understand more and learn more and remember more. You find out what you know and what you don't know quickly. When your friend asks you a question and you don't know the answer, then right away you know there's something you have to study. Higher levels of engagement lead to longer periods of retention. That means when you study this way, you can remember things for a lot longer. When you study things in a boring way, you might forget them within a day. So how can you quiz a friend? Let's go on to the next slide and I'll show you some examples of how you can do this. So here are some different ways that you can do this. First, give grammar examples and then ask for the form. For example, you could say, "I went to the movies last night." And then your friend has to say, "Oh, that's the past tense." You could do it the other way. Give grammar forms and ask for an example sentence. So you can say, "I want you to give a sentence in the present continuous." And your friend has to say, "We are studying right now." Okay? You can keep score if you want to see who gets more right and who has more mistakes. Doing that with friends, as long as it doesn't get too serious, can help you study and can help you continue studying. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll show you more examples of how to do this. So some good examples of things you can quiz a friend on would be parts of a house, types of transportation, jobs, academic subjects, parts of a city. You can do grammar things like past versus present perfect, which one is the right one to use, or present continuous versus past continuous, right? Anything you can think of, you can put it into a quiz and ask your friend if they know the right answer. All right? Let's go on to the last slide and I'll give you a couple of example questions. So some example questions that you could ask a friend would be to fill in the blanks. So give them this sentence. I wish I had car of my own. Should I say a car of my own or the car of my own? You know the right answer. Your friend has to guess the right answer. Another one. I have to go to work. I have to go to the work or I have to go to work. The right answer would be work. Next one. I since last summer. Or would it be I have known since last summer or I knew since last summer? The right answer would be I have known since last summer. And the last one, I watching TV last night when Joe came for a visit. I am watching TV or I was watching TV. Because it was last night, it should be I was watching TV. The more you quiz your friends like this, the better you're going to get and the better your friends will get also. So it's a great tip. Let's go on to the next video and I'll show you another tip. Hi there, it's me, Joe, again. And here we are at tip number 3. This one is called Write Things Down. Let's go on to the next slide so I can explain it to you. So write things down, that means whenever you learn something new, then write it down in a notebook. Whenever you think of something you want to learn, then write it down in a notebook. Carry a little notebook with you at all times. During the day, you're going to come across lots of words that you'll find interesting, or you'll find lots of things that you don't know that you want to know. If you have a little notebook and you write those things down, then you can really improve your learning. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you why. So why do I suggest writing things down? Writing something down helps you learn and remember in 2 separate ways. First, writing helps anchor memories much better than just trying to remember does. To anchor a memory, that means you keep it in your mind much better. More connections are made in the brain when you write things down. So making notes is beneficial even if you don't look at them again. When you write something down, think of it as your brain putting little hooks into the information. And the more hooks you put in, that means the more connections you have. All right, let's go to the next slide and I'll tell you the second reason why it's a great idea. The second reason is you can look at notes again and again. This helps to move things into your permanent memory. Without notes, you can easily forget many things that you learn in just a few hours. Remember back in middle school or high school when your teacher told you you have to study things for a test? Well, you used to study them and you'd get ready for tests, but then after the tests, you used to forget them, right? So if you write things down and keep them with you, you can refer to those notes and remember them for longer periods of time, hopefully forever. You can save notes and refer to them whenever you want, such as on a bus or subway, waiting for appointments or meetings, or at home when you want to put in some study time. Anytime you look at your notes, you will be getting better and better at English. So you'll want to do it more and more. Let's go to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this. So how can you follow this tip? First, get yourself a small notebook and a pen or pencil that can fit in your pocket. Whenever something interests you, such as a word, a phrase, or movie quote, then write it down. As well, whenever you think of something that you don't know but you want to learn, then write down a question. You will have the question ready whenever you get an opportunity to find the answer, either with a teacher, a native speaker, or the internet. Some students might say, Joe, I can just take a picture of things with my phone and then I can ask about it later. It's easier and faster than writing things down. And that's true. It is easier, it is faster, but it's not as good. If you have to put in effort of getting out a notebook, getting your pencil, writing things down, then it really helps you remember. It helps you learn. Using a camera is so easy that it doesn't help you remember. That's why writing things down is the important part of this. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll show you some examples of things you can write down. So some good examples could be useful vocabulary, special words, unknown words or phrases, slang, idioms, phrasal verbs, better ways to say things. You come across all of these whenever you're talking to someone or in class or watching movies. So if you write them down, you can save them and learn from them. Let's go on to the last slide so I can teach you some questions you can ask when you want to find out more things. So these are examples of questions you can ask, either asking a teacher or a native speaker or typing them into the internet. For example, you can say, how do I say So you could ask someone, how do I say apple in English? Or how do I say in English? Another one, what is the word for So you know the word in your language, but you want to know the English word. So what is the word for Does English have a word for So that's asking, do we have a word for whatever you're pointing at or looking at? Another one is, what does mean? So that could be some English word that you don't understand. What does elevator mean? And finally, I couldn't make out what was said in this video. Can you listen and tell me? So if you're watching a video or a movie and you could save it on your phone, you could ask someone, a teacher or a friend or a native speaker, to listen to it, and they could tell you what it is. All right? Those are all good examples of questions that can help you learn when you write things down. All right? That's the end of this video. I hope you go on to the next video and learn the next tip. Hello and welcome back. It's me, Joe, again, and now I'm here to present tip number 4, download some language apps. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean. So what I mean is, go to the App Store or the Play Store on your smartphone. Download one or more of the many language apps that are available. We all know that there's lots of games there, but there's also lots and lots of language apps that can help you. Why is this a great idea? Playing on your phone is something every smartphone owner does. Young kids do it, teenagers do it, businessmen do it, old people do it. I do it. If you use some of that playtime to play with or work on a language app in English, then that time can help you improve your English skills. All right? You can work on spelling, vocabulary, listening, speaking, pronunciation, grammar, reading, and writing. All of the skills are available in language apps. So let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do it. So how can you find some good language apps? Well, browse through the App Store or the Play Store and search for English learning apps. Also, Ask some friends if they have any good suggestions for language learning apps. Maybe you know someone who's really good at English. Maybe they have a great app on their phone. Ask. Download any that look okay and try them out for a week or more before giving up. Some of them will be boring, and if they are very boring, then just stop. Don't do anything that's boring. But some of them are quite clever, and some of them even make it fun. Those are the ones you want to keep and keep trying because they can really help your English. Next, I'll give you some examples of some language apps that I have used or some of my best students have used. So the first example is an app called Wordscapes. It's a little game where you have to spell words. It really helps with spelling and vocabulary. Another one, Learn English Listening Pro. It helps with listening. You listen for a little bit and it gives you a little test. Another one, Learn English Daily. It helps with listening, speaking, and pronunciation, all in one app. Maybe you'll like it. Another one is Learn English Grammar Quickly. This helps with grammar. It has little quizzes, and maybe it could be a great fix for you. Another one, English Conversation Practice. It helps with conversation in different situations, what you should say and how to say it. Finally, Basic English for Beginners. It helps people who are new to learning English. If that's you, then check it out. I think all of these apps are quite helpful, and I know students have used them and improved because of them. If you check them out, I think most of them are free to begin with, and if you want to pay a little bit of money, then you can get an even better app. Hello, and welcome to tip number 5. This one's called Follow People on Social Networking Sites. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean. There are lots of famous people on social networking sites, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and more. Find some celebrities that you like or are interested in and follow their pages. You can also follow amazing facts or joke pages. I have also met a student who likes scary stories, so they follow a page on Instagram that has spooky or scary stories. Let's go to the next slide and I'll tell you why you should do this. So why is this a good tip? Famous people's social networking site pages can be fun and interesting sources of English. These people post new things almost every day that are of interest to their fans, such as songs, videos, updates, scores, and news. This is authentic English. It's real English about people and subjects that you're interested in. Since you like it, your brain will try harder to read, understand, and remember these ideas. And so you'll be getting excellent natural practice in English. So imagine you're interested in a singer and a little post on Instagram tells you something about the singer's childhood. It'll be authentic English telling you some interesting fact about someone you like. You'll be interested and you'll really want to read it and learn. Another thing you can do is reply to people's comments. You may agree or disagree with stuff they say, so debates can happen. Just be careful, since the internet has many people who can be rude. So, for example, on Instagram, people post things, and underneath, lots of people make comments. You can read the comments for extra practice, and you can reply to some of those comments. You may agree with the people, you might have a little fight with those people. Just make sure that you try and keep it safe for yourself and don't get too emotionally hurt by something that somebody might say. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this. So how can you follow people? Register or log in to your favorite social networking site. Use the search function to find some of your favorite celebrities and follow their pages. These can be singers, movie actors, TV stars, athletes, writers, and even politicians. And remember, I also mentioned facts and spooky stories and even jokes. Read and comment on their daily posts. You're using your phone anyway, so why don't you use it to try and help yourself learn English? Let's go on to the last slide in this video, and I'll give you some ideas of people to follow. So here are some singers that you might know of that you'd like to follow. Beyonce, Taylor Swift, or Ed Sheeran. Actors could include Johnny Depp, Will Ferrell, or Scarlett Johansson. Finally, athletes that are very famous include Lionel Messi, Venus Williams, and LeBron James. If you follow those people, you'll get a lot of English every day right on your phone. All right, let's go on to the next video and I'll tell you my next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 6. This one is called Speak to Friends. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean and how it'll help you. So what do I mean speak to friends? Find friends to practice speaking with. Speaking partners do not have to be native speakers. Anyone who wants to practice speaking with you is okay. The more you practice speaking with anybody, it will really improve your English. All right? You don't have to have a private teacher or a native speaker to talk to. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you why this is an important idea. So why is this a great idea? Speaking is a combination of skills and knowledge, including pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and listening. To practice speaking, you just need a person or some people and something to talk about. Many people believe that they need to practice with a native speaker, but that is false. I'm telling you right here, as a teacher who's been in this business for over 20 years, you don't need a native speaker to help you improve your English. All right? You don't. I have met hundreds and hundreds of students who've improved their English on their own, and you can do it too. If you think you need a native speaker to improve, I've got some things to tell you. To get better at soccer, you don't need a professional, do you? Playing soccer with your friends will help you improve your skills, won't it? Sure, it would be great if you could play soccer with Lionel Messi. He could really show you some great things. But you don't need him, right? At one time, Lionel Messi was a kid, and he just loved playing soccer, so he practiced all the time. You can do the same thing with your English. If you insist on only practicing with a native speaker, then you'll have to pay money or wait a long time to find one. Don't waste time. Find a friend who also needs to practice speaking and just start. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this. So how can you find a speaking partner? It could be someone from school or work or even someone in your family, a brother, a sister, aunt, uncle, anybody. The important thing is that this person will try to have English conversations with you. You can also find speaking partners online. Many websites and social networking site pages have pages trying to help people with English. So those pages are full of students also looking for speaking partners. They really want to practice their English too. All you have to do is contact some of those students and ask them. If they say yes, then get together online and start talking. It's a great idea to find partners online because you can find partners from all over the world. So you can practice speaking English with someone with another accent, not just the same accent as you have. Now let's go on to the next slide and I'll give you some examples of things you can do when you finally do get a partner. When you find a partner, you should think of some questions. Think about things that you want to talk about. Topics can be about anything, including school, work, families, culture, hobbies, anything. If you're interested in it, it'll really help. My conversation course has lots of conversation materials and tips too. So this tip, speak to friends, find a friend, doesn't have to be a native speaker, and start practicing. It'll really, really help you. Let's go on to the next video and you can see the next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 7. This one's called Watch Movies and TV Shows. Now I know this tip might be known to everybody, but I'm going to give you some more details that might help you improve your English a bit better. So what does this mean? Find and watch English movies and English TV shows. These have to be interesting for you. Don't watch boring stuff. There's a lot of students that think if they want to have serious English, they have to watch serious things. And that's not the truth. If you want to just watch serious, boring things, then you're going to lose that information because your mind won't keep it. You have to watch interesting things, things that you are interested in. And that's different for everybody. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you why this has to be the way. So why is this a great tip? Movies and TV shows are better than textbooks in many ways. First, they are more entertaining, so you will be more interested. If you like the movies or shows characters, then you will want to keep watching. That interest helps you to listen carefully and experience better practice. Have you ever had a textbook that you wanted to read cover to cover? If your teacher tells you to read 2 pages in your textbook, do you read 2 or do you read 20? I think most students read 2 and then stop. But if you're watching a movie or TV show that you really like, do you turn it off after 3 minutes or do you keep watching? You keep watching because you're interested, and that interest is what's going to help you really learn English. A second reason why movies and TV shows are better than textbooks is you can find lots of shows, movies, and videos on the internet for free. You can easily search and find whatever show or scene you want to watch. That desire really helps you practice more and want to succeed. If you really want to see a movie, then your brain is turned on. And when your brain's turned on, it learns much faster. Is there anything in a textbook that you really want? Maybe not. So you're learning there, but you have to force yourself to learn. With a movie, you can learn and have fun at the same time. A third reason is you can control so many things about online videos. You can replay them as many times as you want. You can change the speed sometimes. You can often use subtitles or find full scripts for your favorite movies or TV shows. So there's lots of ways that you can learn English through TV and movies. Finally, the vocabulary and dialogue found in movies is more natural and filled with idioms and cultural expressions. Textbooks often have very formal words, but movies and TV shows, that's more real English. This can make learning difficult at first, but just keep going. You can learn lots of new knowledge this way and have lots more enjoyment. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to find some movies and TV shows. So how do you find movies and TV shows? Get on YouTube or any other video sharing website. Search for movies and shows that you are interested in. Talk to friends. What movies and TV shows have they watched? Maybe they have some ideas to get you started. As long as you are interested, then you will learn very quickly. If you're not interested, then don't watch. If things are boring, don't watch because that's wasting your time. Just watch stuff that you like. Let's go on to the last slide in this video, and I'll give you some examples of movies and TV shows. So here are some examples of movies and TV shows that I know students have watched and loved and learned from. Movies include Wonder Woman, The Avengers, Harry Potter, lots of things from Hollywood. Popular TV shows include Friends, How I Met Your Mother, and The Big Bang Theory. Look for shows or movies that have been dubbed into your language and then just watch the original. So if you've seen it in your language, maybe you know the story. Watch it in English and that'll be good practice for you. All right? Let's go on to the next video and you can see the next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 8. This one is called Call Businesses. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean. So call businesses means make phone calls or visits to local businesses and ask them lots of questions. This works best in English-speaking countries, but it's still possible internationally. Go on to the next slide and I'll tell you why this is a great tip. So why is calling businesses really good for your English? Well, you are learning English to be able to use it in the future, likely for traveling or business. You're not just learning English for fun. You want to use it. Why not get some practice in now before you need it? Call some businesses and ask some questions. This is excellent practice. The person who answers the phone is getting paid to answer all kinds of questions, so this is a great opportunity for you. You can practice your English and use it in some real-life ways. You can try to communicate with the native speaker who answers the phone. The conversation will be an authentic business topic, so it can really help you improve. If you make mistakes, it doesn't matter because you are just pretending to be a business person at this moment. There are no negative effects. If you make a mistake on the phone right now, you're not going to lose your job. Your boss won't be angry because you don't have a boss. But in the future, after you finish university and really have a job, then your English really needs to be very good. So practicing it now can really help you. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this tip. So how can you call businesses? First, find the phone numbers of any businesses that you can think of. Call them up and say you have a question or some questions, such as, what are your hours of operation? How long does it take to get something delivered? Match up your questions to the specific businesses that you are calling. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll give you examples of businesses to call and examples of questions to ask. So if you're going to be a traveler in the future, you're going to have to talk to people at hotels. Call up some hotels. Ask about room prices, availability for next Friday night. Is breakfast included? When is check-in and check-out? What facilities does the hotel have? Those are some example questions you can ask at any hotel. What if you have to rent a car? Call some car rental agencies. Ask about car prices, availability for next weekend. Can the car be driven out of state or province? Insurance prices? Can you add extra drivers? There are lots of questions you can ask. Listen to their answers and see if you understand. If you don't understand, then tell them, could you say that again? It's great practice for your listening. Another type of business you can call is stores. Ask about hours of business, if they have any laptops or any product in stock. Do they service their products? Do they provide delivery, etc.? Finally, you can call restaurants. Ask about renting private rooms for your company. Ask about prices. How many seats are available in the private room? What time do they close? Do they provide special menus for vegetarians? Things like that. The more you ask, the longer the conversation is, the more practice you get. All right? Let's go on to the next video and you can see the next tip. Hey, it's me, Joe, again. Welcome to tip number 9. This one's called book trips. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain what book trips means. So what this tip means, talk to travel agents about booking vacations and business trips to different places. This works best in English-speaking countries, but it's still possible internationally if you use a phone. Let's go on to the next slide and explain why this is a great tip. Booking trips is a great tip. This gives you practical experience in organizing trips which you may have to do for work in the future. You will become familiar with the vocabulary related to traveling. The travel agent will have to ask you many questions in English, so this will help your listening and speaking. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this. So how do you do this? Visit or call different travel agencies and pretend you are looking into going on a vacation or you need to go on a trip for work. Inquire about hotels, flights, trains, etc., as if you are really going. The more details you ask about, the more practice you will get. You won't have to pay for anything. Just say you are wondering about dates and prices. If they call you later, then just say your boss canceled or postponed the trip. Do it again with another travel agency for further practice. To make it more difficult, try doing this over the phone. In the future, you are going to have to take trips somewhere. You're going to want to. Practice now to get the vocabulary down. It's all for free. They're not going to charge you any money just for asking questions. You can get great English practice and it'll help you be ready for the future. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll give you specific examples of trips you could ask about. So for example, tell the travel agent you will need to go to New York for work on the second weekend of next month. Ask her about flights and hotels in Manhattan. She will ask you things. Answer as if it is true. Another example could be, tell the travel agent that you are just gathering some information about going to Paris in the spring. How much are flights? How much are hotels? Can I book a tour through her? All right. Those are great questions to help you talk about these trips. You're not going to have to pay for anything because you're not really going right now. You're just going to practice your English. Just imagine how many travel agencies there are in every city. You can talk to lots and lots and get lots of practice. Let's go on to the next video and you can hear about my next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 10, go shopping. Lots of people love going shopping. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain how this tip can improve your English. So what do I mean? Visit several stores in a mall and ask the sales staff lots of questions. This works best in English-speaking countries. It's still possible in non-English speaking countries if the sales staff can speak English. So if you're traveling through Canada, this would be really easy. Go to any mall, everyone can speak English. Say if you go to Germany though, it's not an English speaking country, but they might have staff that can speak English and help you in that way. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain why this is a great tip. If your English improves enough, then you will likely want to travel and shop using English in the future. That's why you're probably improving your English now. You want to use it for work and travel. Shopping gives you a great experience at asking lots of questions related to clothes, electronics, or whatever else you're interested in. This is a great opportunity for specific vocabulary, speaking, listening, and pronunciation. The sales staff will answer any questions you have about whatever they sell. That's why they're there. They think you want to buy. You don't have to buy, but you want to ask lots and lots of questions. So how can you do this? Visit different stores and tell them you need help finding the right gift for a friend. This will allow you to speak to sales staff about any kind of product, such as women's clothes, men's clothes, electronics, books, anything. The staff will likely ask you a question about your friend's likes and dislikes, so just answer as if you're really buying a gift. So you can imagine you're buying a gift for your brother or cousin or best friend. Answer that way. The conversation will ask about likes and dislikes because the sales staff really want to help you get the best gift. You can ask about different models, prices, colors, and other features. The more you ask and the more details you discuss, the better the practice is. The more questions, the better your English will get. At the end, tell the staff that you're going to think about their suggestions and then come back. You don't have to buy anything, right? People go window shopping all the time. That's all you're doing. So don't feel guilty about it. Let's go to the next slide and I'll give you some specific examples of things you could go shopping for and ask about. So for example, you could tell the sales staff you need to buy a new sweater for your sister. They will ask you about her size and what colors she likes. You can ask if they can suggest something to go with the sweater. Imagine you're really buying something for your sister, and then the conversation will go on from there. Another example, tell the sales staff that you want to know some information to buy your brother a new tablet or iPad. They will ask questions about how it will be used, and you can ask about the features. Whatever you want to go shopping for, you can ask lots of questions. The more questions you ask, the better your English is going to get. And you can do this in as many stores as you want. All right? Let's go on to the next video and I'll tell you the next tip. Hi everybody and welcome to tip number 11. This one's called throw or go to parties. To throw a party means to have a party. So this is one of my favorite tips. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean. So throw or go to parties means hold an English party at your home and invite people who want to practice English. Or you can go to your friends' English parties. Both of these things can really help your English improve. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain why this is such a great tip. Having a party will give you a chance to get together with other people who want to practice their English. Usually you're only together with other people who want to practice English in a classroom. And that's not necessarily the most fun place. Sometimes people are nervous in classrooms. Sometimes classrooms can be very boring. But parties are usually fun and relaxed. A party will give you an opportunity to play games and have fun using English. You can meet lots of people at parties that you can practice with in other ways after the party is over. You could become friends and maybe conversation partners later. Meet every week. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this tip. Talk to your friends about your idea of an English party. Only English should be used. Tell them to find another friend to bring, as well as bring some snacks and drinks with them. Prepare your home to receive your guests, just like any party, but also prepare some English games and materials. You can find different kind of games materials on the internet. Just search for something like fun English games or fun English party games. So set out lots of pieces of paper with conversation questions, trivia questions, and true and false questions for your guests to read to each other and discuss. Prepare some games that can be played by couples, groups, and individually. You can have prizes for the winners. The prizes don't have to be anything serious or expensive. They could be just something from the dollar store, or it could be a little snack or a cupcake. Another thing you can do is decide what will happen if someone speaks their own language during the party. Now, this could happen very easily. If you've got lots of people from one country, they might start using that language. Will rule breakers have to sing a song, wear a funny hat, or something else? You want to keep it fun so people will have a great time and want to do it again. But if your party just changes from an English party into a Chinese party or Italian party, then you're not practicing your English anymore. It might still be fun, but you're not practicing your English. So if you just keep it English, at least for a little while, an hour or half an hour, that will really help. Let's go on to the next slide, and I'll give you some examples of things you can do. Examples of things you can do include you can play word guessing games, such as, what is the bottom of your foot called? The sole. You can play finish the sentence games. Karen's favorite movie star is, and then people at the party can all guess, and then you ask Karen what the right answer is. It's a lot of fun. You can print off funny crossword puzzles related to holidays for people to do. The fastest group or couple could win a prize. So those are great ideas about how to have an English party. I've seen them happen before, and people have a lot of fun and they get a lot of practice. So let's go on to the next video and I'll talk about the next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 12. This one's called Keep Up on the News. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean by that. So keep up on the news, that means watch the nightly news in English. Visit English news websites and read about the news each day. This will be mostly serious English vocabulary, so it might not be fun. However, it can still be interesting if you like the news. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain why this is a good tip. The news changes every day, so each day gives you a new opportunity to use your English and learn new things. You can watch the news on TV or the internet and practice your listening. You can read the news in newspapers or on websites to practice your reading. So there's different material and there's different ways of getting that material. So that can really help your English. Some news websites even provide opportunities to test your vocabulary knowledge and thus improve your English. You can check your understanding by watching or reading similar news reports in your first language. So watch a news report in your own language, say for example Korean, and then go find the same story in English. You can be exposed to a variety of vocabulary by watching or reading about many different kinds of news stories, such as national, international, sports, weather, etc. Now let's go on to the next slide and I'll show you how to do this. So how can you do this tip? Find some news websites that you can check out daily. Make sure you are able to watch or read the articles and stories on your device or computer. Prepare to watch or read by using strategies of guessing what you are going to hear or read first. So check out the title and see if you can figure out what it's going to be about before you even hear it or read it. That's a great way to do some pre-listening or pre-reading. Another thing you should do is prepare some questions that you should be able to answer by the end of the article or story. Questions can be things like, where did this happen? Who was involved? Why did it happen? Why is it important? Things like that. You can even get together with other learners who want to practice with the news, so you can watch or read things together and then discuss. This can really help your English. Let's go on to the final slide in this video, and I'll give you examples of some very good news websites. So for example, some of the biggest English news websites are CNN, BBC, CBC, and Al Jazeera. Some of the biggest English newspapers are the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Guardian, and the Globe and Mail. News websites that also help you learn English are BBC Learning English, enewsdispatch.com, and Voice of America English News. I really suggest you check out those websites because I know lots of students who've been helped by using them. All right, that's the end of this video. I hope you go on to the next video and find out the next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 13. This one is listen to music. So by that I mean listen to English music. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain a bit more. So basically what I mean is find and listen to music in English. Read the lyrics and try to learn the vocabulary and phrases. There's tons of music on the internet, so this is something that many students do. You might already be doing it, so this tip might not be new. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain why this is such a good thing to do. So I've said this before in many other videos. The best way to learn anything is to do it in an interesting way that you enjoy. So maybe studying a textbook in a classroom is not something that you enjoy. But perhaps if you're a young person, you listen to music on headphones most of the time. If you really enjoy music, then you can use that. If you enjoy listening to music, then you can use your own interest and desire to practice more and learn more. I know that it's fun to listen to music in your own language, but if you can donate some of that time to English music, it can really help you. The internet is full of videos with and without lyrics, all for free. So you can listen and learn as much as you want. Now remember, maybe you'll find some stuff that you don't understand, but again, you can write that down and find out about it later. The internet is a great resource for music and the vocabulary that it uses. I'm not even going to have a how situation in this video or examples because this is such an obvious tip that you should be able to do it on your own. Hello and welcome to tip number 14. This one is called Get a Pen Pal. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain what Get a Pen Pal means. So what does it mean? I think you should sign up to get and receive letters or messages from someone who lives in another country. That would be your pen pal sending you messages. You could get more than one pen pal and thus be writing and receiving lots of letters or messages each week. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain why this is such a great tip. So having a pen pal will give you the opportunity to communicate with someone in English. If you write more letters or messages to other people, then you will receive more and thus you will have to use your English more. Meeting new people and making new friends is very enjoyable. So this enjoyment can motivate you to practice more English. Writing and explaining things to your pen pal will force you to search for and use the correct vocabulary to make yourself understood. Since your pen pal lives in another country and another culture, this will increase your vocabulary because you will discuss new things. If you ever get a chance to travel to your pen pal's country, you will have a friend to meet and hang around with. Wouldn't that be great? If you get a chance to travel to, say, Japan, and you could meet somebody you were communicating with for a long time, there you go. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain how to do this. There are many websites dedicated to finding pen pals, so you can Google and check them out. Decide what kind of pen pal you want and how you want to communicate. Think about different important points such as gender, hobbies, nationality, age, and experiences. When you go to these websites, they're going to ask you those things. If you're a girl, do you want to talk to another girl? You can, but you have to know that going in. When you finally do get your pen pal, be friendly in your initial contact. Don't write or talk about too much too soon. So you want to share with them, but remember they are a stranger, so let the friendship grow naturally. Remember to stay safe. Do not give information or discuss topics that you are not comfortable with. True pen pals just want to share experiences and talk about things. They do not ask for too much or private information. So you don't have to share that stuff. And if somebody asks you about that, then they are not a good pen pal. You should stop talking to them and alert the website so they can be blocked. Next, we'll go to the next slide and I'll give you some examples of websites. So here are some examples. There's International Pen Friends. This one costs money, but you know it's safe. PenPalWorld.com is free. PenPalsNow.com is free. And Pen-Pal.com is free, and it's usually for people between 9 and 20 years old. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that tip. Let's go on to the next video and you can see the next tip. Hello and welcome to tip number 15. Set aside time to practice. Let's go to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean by that. So what I mean is choose a particular time of day to practice your English and work on your skills. Try to be as consistent as possible with your practice times. That means don't be lazy and just practice one day a week and then put it off. Try to do it every day at the same time if you can. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain why this is a very important tip. You always make time for the most important things in your life. Everybody does. They are your priorities. If you love to exercise, then you always make time to go to the gym or go biking or jogging. You probably do it at the same time every day or every week. If you try to make the same sort of schedule to practice English, then you will see a lot of improvement. If you study English at the same time every day or the same time every week, this can have the same effect as taking a class, as that is something you pay for and you go at a particular time. If you have enough discipline, then you can help yourself improve on your own by reading, listening, speaking, or doing grammar exercises. By making practicing English a priority and giving it a specific time, you will really start to get better. The same thing if you were lifting weights every day for an hour in the morning, you would get very strong. Well, if you read for an hour or listen to English for an hour every morning, your English muscles will get very strong. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do this. Decide if you study better in the morning, afternoon, or evening. Different people have more energy at different times of the day. If you want a lot of energy to study, then choose the best time for you. Pick a time when you will not be distracted easily, such as by friends calling or by family members needing you. You can't stop the world from wanting you, but you can judge other people's schedules and know when maybe you won't be needed. Prepare what you are going to do during your practice time. Don't start looking for things when you're supposed to be practicing. Get the material before the practice time starts. If you're doing some listening, then find the videos beforehand. If you're going to practice speaking, either online or offline, then arrange the time with your partner. If you're doing any kind of exercise, prepare it the day before so you won't waste any of your practice time. Have the materials ready. So here are some examples of what some of my best students have done in the past. Find some videos on YouTube that you want to watch and practice listening with. Prepare questions for what you expect to hear. Find a book, magazine, or website that you really want to read. Remember, interest is key. If the thing you're reading or watching is boring, it won't help your English. But if it's really interesting or you really like it, then your English will get better very quickly. If you're going to practice speaking online, then arrange a meeting time and prepare some conversation materials beforehand. You don't want to run out of questions to ask when you're online. Have lots of questions and topics available. All right, so that's the end of the 15th tip. However, there is a bonus tip video right after this. I hope you check it out. Hello and welcome to bonus tip number 1. This one's called Take Some Courses, just like you're doing right now. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll explain what I mean. The internet is a great resource for lots of materials. As I said before, you can find music and things to read and lots of grammar exercises, but you can also sign up for many courses. You can study along with other students from the comfort of your home, just like you're doing now. So let's go to the next slide and I'll explain why this could really help you. You might need some more structure than just studying on your own. You can ask the teacher of the course some questions if you get confused. When you're on your own, you're kind of on your own. But if you have a teacher, then anything that confuses you or you want to find out more about, they're just an email away. You can possibly meet lots of other people who are taking the course, and then you can help each other. Imagine that would be a great way to make friends who are studying in the same class. You can choose from a variety of courses on any subject you want. You don't just have to study English. What if you wanted to study coding in English? Or what if you wanted to study art? You can do that in English too. You can study on your computer, tablet, or even on your phone. You can set your own schedule because you can watch the videos when you want to. Just the same way as you're watching this video, you can watch those videos in the middle of the night, early in the morning, or whenever you're available. Let's go on to the next slide and I'll tell you how to do it. Search websites such as Udemy to find courses that you would like to take. This course, you found it on Udemy. So there are many other courses there too. Check out the teacher's promotional videos and descriptions of the course. So every teacher that makes other courses, they always write information and they describe the course. Make sure that you can understand the teacher's accent easily and the teacher doesn't speak too quickly. If you can understand what they're saying, then you can learn whatever they have to teach. Checking out free courses is a cheap and easy way to see if you like the content and teacher's teaching style. If you really enjoy and learn a lot from the teacher, then think about taking some paid courses. When you take paid courses, that can help you too, because with a free course, if you quit, you're not losing any money. But with a paid course, if you quit, you are losing a little bit of money. So that might motivate you to keep studying. In my experience, more students finish my paid courses than finish my free courses. Remember, investing in courses is like investing in yourself. Let's go to the last slide and I'll give you some examples. So my best examples would be certainly check out other teachers and courses on Udemy. You can study anything you want, not just English. Go on and study any topic. Just type something into the search bar and see what you find. Also, a lot of those courses are free. If you like this course, my accent and my style, then check out some more of my helpful courses. I would love to help you some more. All right, I hope you enjoyed the course. If you have any questions or comments, write them down and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Bye bye.